That's amazing from him. Let's talk about the other side of North London, though, and Tottenham Hotspur, who are in the Champions League next season, despite the fact they finished 17th. But they won a trophy as well, the Europa League, at the end of the season. Thomas Frank's now in charge with Ange out of the door. They've done a bit of business. They've said some goodbyes as well. I'm delighted to welcome in Chris Cowlin, host of the Spurs Chat podcast, part of the talkSPORT fan network. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, mate.
Ollie, Harry, great to join you. Good evening. I've just come off a 14-and-a-half-hour flight from South Korea, having just gone to the Asia tour, which I've really enjoyed. So, yeah, great to be back on here.
Oh, fantastic stuff. So how many tears were there then when Son Heung-min was saying his goodbyes in the game against Newcastle?
A lot of tears. A very emotional and sad day for a lot of Tottenham Hotspur fans. Hopefully, Son will get the opportunity to come back to Tottenham at some stage and say a proper goodbye to everyone in England. But yeah, it was a weird atmosphere against Newcastle before the game, during the game. The players, gave him a great send-off. And, yeah, there were a lot of tears from Son, from his teammates, from the fans. He will be greatly missed. I'm so glad that he was the one who actually made the decision to leave the football club. He's had a great 10 years, and I'm so glad that he's gone out on a high, having lifted the Europa League.
Do you know what, Chris? I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here because I was speaking to a Spurs fan earlier, and I was asked about the legacy of Son Heung-min, and this Spurs fan said to me that he thinks that Son is a bigger Tottenham legend now than Harry Kane. Where would you stand on that?
Well, of course, he's record goal scorer against someone who's actually won a trophy at the football club. So I suppose the trophies count for more. But both of them have been great legends of the football club. Both will be remembered. Both deserve statues outside the stadium. Harry Kane, of course, was a great servant to Tottenham. But I'm just so glad that Son didn't go without winning a trophy, because that is what he's going to be remembered for. That night in Bilbao in May against Manchester United, lifting that trophy. It was so overdue, the trophies at Spurs. And I'm just so glad that he's left having won a trophy. And I wish him all of the success in the world, because he's been a great footballer for us. He's been, great on and off the pitch, someone who always had a smile on his face. But both of them, in my opinion, are legends.
Do you think that Son will get this kind of, bigger sort of praise and that kind of legendary status, as you say, because of the character he was as well? Like, there's no doubt, like, a few years ago, he was a top player. I was terrified whenever we played Spurs that Son was going to run in behind, maybe fall over and win a penalty or something like that. It was always a fear of mine, right? But I don't think we can avoid the fact, Chris, that for the last couple of seasons now, he's been way off the level that we became accustomed to. So I would argue that even though it's a decision that he's made and Tottenham have done it the right way in terms of letting him have that moment, I think from a footballing perspective, moving on from Heung-min Son right now is the right thing for Tottenham.
Yeah, you're probably right, Harry. It is probably the right move for the player, for the football club. A lot of us are emotional about players a lot of the time, and it's very, very sad to see him go. I personally would have loved to have seen him stay at Spurs for another season, because when you look at that squad, and this is a big compliment to Heung-min Son, not a disrespect to any Spurs player at the moment, but who are the star players in this squad right now? You'd always said Heung-min Son is the Tottenham Hotspur star in this squad, but it was probably the right time to leave. But of course, when a legend leaves your club after 10 years, having delivered so much on the pitch, it's hard to lose a player of that caliber. But Harry Kane and Son, they'll go down as one of the best combinations in the Premier League, in my opinion, in Premier League history. And it's a shame now that we've lost both of them. Of course, Postecoglou lost Harry Kane when he started the job, and now Thomas Frank has lost a star player in Heung-min Son going into the brand new season.
Well, yeah, and another player that he's going to have lost to injury as well is James Maddison, who picked up what looks like a devastating injury in that game as well, which is really bad news, isn't it, for Thomas Frank, and especially because it happens in a game like that where it doesn't need to happen. How worried are you about that injury in particular to Maddison?
Yeah, of course. Maddison should be a key player for Spurs, especially under Thomas Frank now. And that is going to be a huge miss and a huge loss. Of course, he missed the Europa League final due to injury as well. So he has only literally just come back. And it now does look like a very significant injury to him yet again. And it was so frustrating for us Spurs fans and everyone connected to the football club last season with the amount of injuries that we have had. But I'm sure we're going to talk about transfers. This is where the transfer situation comes in now. Spurs are heavily going after a number 10. In my opinion, we also need a striker and various other positions as well. But yeah, Maddison will be deeply upset with his injury yet again. And I'm sure Thomas Frank will be very frustrated not having him available for the start of the Premier League season.
One player that is on his way in as well is João Palhinha. And I think when you look to this window, maybe the priority was to bring in that kind of number 6 player. Do you feel that he is the right man? Are you pleased with that one?
Really pleased, Ollie, yeah, because we've needed that number 6. We've needed that DM for the last couple of years. A lot of Spurs fans will tell you that is a position where, it needs to be done this summer, especially under a brand new manager. And, João Palhinha has got Premier League experience. And this is what I love about this transfer window so far, although I feel like we need a lot more to be done yet. But it seems that the brief is Premier League experienced players. And that's exactly what Ange Postecoglou alluded to in his last couple of press conferences before he was sacked. So it is about Premier League experience. João Palhinha is going to be that one to break up play. And, Thomas Frank coming in, we are going to be a lot more difficult team to beat next season than we were last year. I know you mentioned at the start 22 league defeats. That can't happen again in this upcoming season. So João Palhinha, for me, is going to be a great signing for us. And he's a yellow card merchant. He knows the Premier League well and he likes to put his boot in. And I think he's going to be perfect for Spurs. And, to make his debut next week against his parents' side, Bayern Munich, that would be a good one.
Stay there, Chris. There has been a goal at Anfield in the pre-season game between Liverpool and Athletic Bilbao. Matt Jones.
And Liverpool are back in front. Liverpool 2, Athletic Bilbao 1, though more of a hint of offside of this. I think VAR might have got involved in a Premier League game. Gravenberch gets the ball outside the area. He drives forward, feints for a shot to go past his man and then does pull the trigger. Simon gets down to it, but only pushes it out into the path of Gakpo, who smuggles home from close range with the keeper already on the ground. Gakpo, I think, would have been in an offside position, or was in an offside position. It would be interesting to see those lines drawn that we've been lucky not to see for the last few months, given the lack of Premier League football. But it is Liverpool who go ahead as Chiesa enters the fray as well for Ekitike, who's had a really impressive Anfield bow. Liverpool 2, Athletic Bilbao 1.
Liverpool back in front there. Let's turn our attentions back to Tottenham. Chris, on Tottenham, you mentioned that there'll be a harder team, right, to beat next season. And I agree with that. I haven't seen a lot of them in pre-season, but I did watch that North London derby out in Hong Kong. And I noticed it straight away. Tottenham had a better shape about them. They were clearly more disciplined. They're clearly going to be harder to break down than Ange Postecoglou's side were. I felt like Ange Postecoglou's side, we won't get into it, but they were just so chaotic and disorganised at times. What's the expectation, though, around Thomas Frank? Because in terms of the Premier League, the bar's pretty low. Like, you finished 17th last season. He can't possibly do any worse than that, can he? So do you kind of feel like it's a bit of a free hit for Thomas Frank, an opportunity to come in and just get his feet under the table and get the team sort of building towards what he wants it to be? Or is there immediate expectation? Are Tottenham too big a football club to just say, well, just let's see how he goes?
Yeah, well, the chairman, Daniel Levy, and the new CEO, Vino Venkatesham, have already come out and said that, Spurs should be fighting on all fronts, year in, year out. But, I've just come from Hong Kong and South Korea, and I must say one thing that has really, really impressed me, and this is why I love going on these pre-season tours, the open training sessions that I saw, Thomas Frank is so hands-on. And I've gone to many training sessions with all of our previous managers, and I've never seen such a hands-on manager where he's got the whistle in one hand, he's got a notepad and tactics board in the other, and he's constantly stopping the training sessions, talking to every single player, and he was literally running around more than some of the players. He is so intense in talking to the players. The communication, not only with him, but his staff as well, was absolutely outstanding. But there is an expectation to do well in the Premier League, fight on all fronts. The Europa League win, in my opinion, has given us that that hunger and that desire to win more trophies and be more successful, that trophy parade for the fans. Us fans want to taste that more and more and more of winning trophies and being successful, because as I've mentioned earlier and, on this show over the years, how many times have I said about, the trophies are overdue. So that trophy was so important to Tottenham. But Thomas Frank, I feel like there was a mixed opinion amongst the Spurs fan base when he was appointed. But what I can say, what I've seen in the last week or so in Hong Kong and South Korea, I've been very, very impressed with him. With the players, and like you mentioned, the Arsenal game was very impressive as well. We're unbeaten in pre-season. I'm not getting carried away because I feel like there's so much more to do in the transfer window. We've got PSG in 9 days' time. That's where we're going to see, Tottenham really, really tested against the Champions League winners. So, if we can get a couple more additions in, it gives Thomas Frank the tools to do a really, really good job. But, when the club come out and say that we want to be fighting on all fronts, we've got a long way to go yet, and a fair bit to do.
Chris, thank you very much indeed for your time there. Chris Cowlin, host of the Spurs Chat podcast. There you go, Harry. Tottenham Hotspur, they're coming for you.
Oh, have a day off.
Have a day in pre-season, mate. What are you talking about?
Oh, come on. Are we seriously putting stock in that? Are we actually putting stock in that? It's probably nice for them because they don't beat us that much, but there's nothing to get carried away about. Look, jokes aside, they were good. In terms of their organisation, in terms of their structure, that was far better than anything I've seen from Tottenham in the last 12 months. So I really like Thomas Frank. The problem is I have to dislike him now by default, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
There we go. Keep your corporate jargon coming in, by the way, on 810.